It was a little past midnight at the General Hospital, and Nurse Bessie was almost dozing at the front desk, struggling to keep her eyes open, when she heard the automatic doors open. She looked up and was surprised to see a young woman staggering into the lobby, clutching her stomach and wearing a look of fear. Bessie's eyes widened, and she jumped up and rushed toward her. "Please," the young woman hissed, leaning heavily against the wall. "Help me." Nurse Bessie quickly approached and gently guided her to a chair. "Miss, are you okay? What happened?" The young woman struggled to catch her breath. "Please call the doctor," she managed, her voice trembling. "It's better to see than to explain." Bessie exchanged a worried look with another nurse who had just arrived when she heard the noise. Without missing a beat, she picked up the phone and called Dr. Onies, the doctor on call that night. Dr. Onies was in her office, leafing through patient files, when the call came. She had always been calm under pressure, known for her steady hands and clear mind even in the emergency room, but there was something in Nurse Bessie's voice that hinted at urgency, and it made her heart beat faster. "A patient just came in. She looks very distressed. She insists that you come immediately," Bessie said. Dr. Oni stood up, grabbed her stethoscope, and put it around her neck. "I'll be right there." Moments later, Dr. Onies entered the hall and saw the young woman, who was now sitting with her hands on her head, looking exhausted and frightened. She approached her. "Hello, I'm Dr. Onies. Can you tell me what happened?" The young woman looked up helplessly. "I can't explain it. You just have to see for yourself," she whispered. "Please, hurry up." Dr. Onies could see the terror in her eyes. She nodded quickly and helped the young woman up. "Okay, let's go examine you." In the examination room, Dr. Onies gently guided the woman to lie down on the examination table. She noticed that the young woman was shaking, her fingers gripping the edge of the table so tightly that her knuckles were turning white. "Take a deep breath," Dr. Onies said softly. "Can you tell me your name?" "Angela." "My name is Angela," the young woman replied. Dr. Onies nodded, trying to soothe her. "Angela, I'm going to do a quick exam to figure out what's causing you so much pain. Can you tell me where it hurts?" Angela's face dropped, and she hesitated before finally pointing to her lower abdomen. It's over there," she whispered in embarrassment and fear. "Please, just look." Dr. Oni's expression remained calm and gentle as she prepared for the exam. But the moment Angela spread her legs, Dr. Onies stepped back, horrified. She hadn't expected what she was seeing and wasn't ready for it. "Oh my God," she whispered, unable to believe what she was seeing. There were tiny white maggots wriggling in Angela's most sensitive area, a sight so strange and unnatural that Dr. Onies felt a shiver run down his spine. Angela's face tightened as she began to sob, clutching the doctor's hand. "Please, doctor, help me. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't want to die." Dr. Onies took a deep breath, forcing herself to regain her composure. She had seen countless cases of infection and disease, but this was unlike anything she had ever encountered. "Angela, I'm going to do everything I can to help you, but you have to be strong, okay?" Angela nodded through her tears, and Dr. Onies got to work. She administered an injection to ease Angela's pain, then began cleaning the infected area. As she worked, questions flooded her mind, questions that had no immediate answers. Once Dr. Onies had Angela stabilized, she sat across from her, trying to comprehend what she had just seen. "Angela, this is a very unusual condition," she began cautiously. "I gave you something to manage the pain and clean the area, but I need to know more about your medical history. When did you first notice anything unusual?" Angela wiped away her tears, trying to compose herself. "It started about 5 days ago. I noticed a strange smell, and I felt uncomfortable. I tried cleaning myself, but it didn't help. The maggots continued to multiply, even after cleaning. It just kept getting worse." Dr. Onies listened, nodding as her mind raced through different possibilities. "Have you changed anything recently? A new medication? Different foods or toiletries?" Angela replied, "No, not really." The doctor continued. "You mentioned being a student. You live in a dorm. Maybe it's from the shared bathroom?" Angela shook her head, explaining that she lived alone in a small room and was very particular about her hygiene. Dr. Onis then asked her in a low voice, "Are you sexually active?" Angela hesitated for a moment before nodding. Dr. Onis continued, "I need to know when you last saw a man. Might that help us?" Angela, a little embarrassed, finally answered, "Well, I was with someone, my boyfriend, Williams. We were together about a week ago." Dr. Onis wrote this down, sensing that Angela's condition might be related to her encounter with Williams, because something seemed odd, something that didn't fit into any known medical category. "A week ago, and you noticed this 5 days after being with him," she said softly. "Angela, I want to help you, but I need as much information as you can give me. Have there been any other recent changes in your life, perhaps in your relationship, anything that might be related to what's happening to you?" Angela's face grew concerned, and she took a deep breath. "It must be Williams. He's changed. He's always been nice, always there, but lately he started hanging out with different people, rich friends, men who seem to have everything. He's started acting strange, and I don't even recognize him anymore." Dr. Onis frowned, considering Angela's words. "Have you noticed anything unusual about Williams? Anything that might suggest something special?" Angela looked away sadly. "Nothing unusual, except that he always talks about wanting more in life and wanting to escape poverty. But I've never seen him do anything special. He just wanted to belong to a different world, nothing more." Dr. Oni's instincts told her there was more to discover. She was well aware of certain supernatural beliefs and stories of people making dark sacrifices to gain wealth and power. The idea seemed unlikely, but after what she had seen, she couldn't dismiss it entirely. After stabilizing Angela, the next morning, Dr. Onis decided to seek a second opinion from a specialist. She went to see Dr. Nami, the hospital's senior gynecologist, known for his expertise in rare and complex cases. As she sat down in Dr. Nami's office, she recounted the event, describing Angela's condition in detail. "I've never seen anything like this," she concluded. "It's almost as if something mystical is happening." Dr. Nami frowned as he listened. He had seen some unusual cases over the years, but this was new to him. "It sounds eerie," he admitted, "and to be honest, it reminds me of something I've heard of informally. Stories of people suffering strange afflictions due to spiritual manipulation." Dr. Onis felt a shiver run down his spine. "Do you think it could be supernatural?" Dr. Nami nodded slowly. "That's a possibility. There are cases where people are targeted by dark forces, often through those close to them." Angela mentioned her boyfriend. "It might be worth finding out if he's involved in anything unusual." Dr. Onis was puzzled. She had always approached her work with a scientific mindset, but when faced with a situation that eluded explanation, she was willing to consider any possibility. Dr. Onis returned to Angela's room and sat down next to her, filled with sympathy and gentleness. "Angela, I need you to be completely honest with me. I'll do everything in my power to help you, but I need to understand everything about your relationship with Williams. It's important." Angela looked down, and a fresh tear slid down her cheek as she prepared to share a part of her life she never thought she would have to reveal. "I met Williams last year. We were both struggling. He came from a background like mine, poor, but with dreams of something bigger. We had so much in common, and for a long time, I felt like he was the only person who truly understood what I was going through." Dr. Onis shook his head, encouraging him to continue. "And things changed," Angela continued. "Yes, about 3 months ago, William started hanging out with new friends. At first, I was happy for him. They were rich, successful, powerful. At least, that's what they seemed. But there was something about them that didn't feel right." "What do you mean?" Dr. Onis asked, his curiosity piqued. Angela's voice grew softer. "There was one night I remember well. He came home late, acting strange. His gaze was different, cold, almost like he was a different person. He talked about wanting to escape poverty, saying he was tired of waiting endlessly. He said he would do anything to become rich." "Did he tell you what that everything might be?" Dr. Onis asked softly. Angela shook her head. "No, he was vague, but I could see in his eyes that he was serious. He wouldn't listen to me when I asked him to be careful and to remember that all that glitters is not gold." Dr. Onis, shook his head suspiciously. Angela, I know this may sound strange, but I think it's possible that William got involved in something dangerous, something that affected you as well. I want to help you find answers, and there is a way to do that. Angela looked up, curious. What do you mean? Dr. Onies took a deep breath. I think we should try to contact William. I want you to call him, and while we talk, I want you to pretend that everything is fine. Keep him calm, make him feel confident, and let's see if he can reveal anything that will help us understand what's happening to you. Angela's face went pale. Do you want me to confront him? Not directly, Dr. Onies clarified. Just talk to him in a relaxed manner. Tell him you're not feeling well and see how he reacts. I'll listen if he lets something slip. It could be a vital clue. But if you notice he's faking it, try to provoke him, get him to get angry and say things in anger. Either approach can work. Angela took a deep breath and nodded. Okay, I'll try. I'll do whatever it takes. Dr. Onies gave her a small recorder, telling her to keep it handy. They dialed William's number, and Angela held the phone to her ear, trying to remain calm as the line rang. After several rings, William's voice came through, relaxed and indifferent. Angela, what's wrong? I wasn't expecting a call from you. Angela gripped the phone nervously. Hi, William. I haven't been feeling great lately. I just wanted to check in on you. Are you feeling unwell? He asked coldly. What do you mean? Angela blinked, trying to keep her tone relaxed. It's hard to explain. I've been having strange symptoms, weird things that I thought you might know something. There was silence on the other end of the line, and Angela grew more and more nervous before William laughed, a hollow sound. Angela, don't be ridiculous. If you feel sick, just rest, that's all. But Angela insisted, keeping her tone measured. But William, these things started after we were together last week. I don't understand, and I thought you might know. Angela interrupted him coldly. You ask too many questions. She could hear the indifference in his voice, the lack of empathy for her suffering. It was obvious that something in him had changed. William, if there's something you're not telling me, please, I need to know, she finally pleaded. Okay, do you want the truth? I was tired of living like a nobody, Angela. I wanted more, I needed a way out, and you just happened to be there at the right time. Angela's breath hitched, her worst fears confirmed. What did you do to me, William? A cold sneer rang through the phone, cruel and unforgiving. Nothing personal, Angela? Let's just say you were useful to me. Some of us want more in life, so you were my sacrifice. Angela's hands shook as she held the phone. She had thought she knew him, she had trusted him with all her heart, and now he had turned her into a pawn in his twisted game for riches. Dr. Eunice, who had been listening to the conversation, gave her a reassuring nod, indicating that she had recorded the whole thing. Angela finally ended the call, still reeling from the betrayal. Dr. Eunice was now convinced that Angela's affliction was beyond the realm of physical medicine. She decided to take Angela to someone who could help her understand and hopefully reverse the dark forces that had trapped her. She took her to her church to meet with a pastor, Pastor Elia. As Angela recounted her ordeal, Pastor Elia listened intently, nodding as she went. Angela, you are the victim of a ritual. What you are going through is the result of a dark spiritual exchange, something that William initiated without your knowledge. You only have 5 days to live because the sacrifice was successful. But know that there is a way to break this. Tears filled Angela's eyes. Please, Pastor, I will do anything. I just want to be free of this curse. Pastor Elia nodded. There is hope, Angela. The power of God can overcome all darkness. I wanted to start praying the Psalms now, especially at midnight when prayer is most powerful. Start with Psalm 35, Psalm 91, and Psalm 109. These are prayers of protection and deliverance. He then prayed for her before he drove her back to the hospital. That night, Angela sat on the floor of her hospital room with a Bible. On her lap, she opened Psalm 35 and began to pray. Lord, fight against those who fight against me. Fight against those who fight against me. The words echoed in the silent room, filling the air with a strange, peaceful energy. She continued with Psalm 91, feeling a warmth envelop her as she spoke the words of protection and faith. At midnight she finished with Psalm 109, praying fervently as her soul sought deliverance. Miraculously, a few days later, Angela's condition began to improve. The words disappeared and the pain lessened. Dr. Eunice and Pastor Elia were astonished by this change, knowing that something supernatural had happened. When she was stronger, Angela, accompanied by Dr. Eunice, went to the police with the recording of William's confession. They filed a report and the authorities immediately launched an investigation. When they arrived at William's apartment, they found a disturbing scene. William had lost his mind. He was sitting outside, looking disoriented, dressed in tattered clothes, babbling incoherent words. It was as if the darkness he had released had turned on him, consuming him from the inside. The officers quickly restrained him and took him away. A few days later, Angela was released from the hospital. Before she left, she went to Dr. Eunice's office. "I don't know how to thank you, doctor. You saved my life, in more ways than I can say. Angela, I didn't do this alone. You were strong enough to face what happened and brave enough to trust us. You took the steps to free yourself." Angela sighed, feeling both relieved and grateful. "I never thought I would survive, especially after realizing what William did to me. I trusted him, I believed in him, and he betrayed me in the worst way." Eunice smiled softly at her. "Betrayal can be deep, but it doesn't define who you are. You are so much more than what you've been through. You have a future, Angela, filled with hope, healing, and possibility." Angela nodded. "I feel different, lighter, like a dark cloud has lifted." Angela and Dr. Eunice went to the police station to follow up on the case. They learned that William had been formally charged and that Angela's evidence had been crucial in bringing him to justice. His recorded confession and the testimonies of Dr. Eunice and Pastor Elia had painted a clear picture of his intentions, leaving no room for doubt. The officers informed Angela that William would be tried and that his actions would not go unpunished, but that he would first be placed in a police psychiatric hospital until he came to his senses. Angela returned to her studies, feeling stronger and more focused than ever. She returned to her life, determined to make the most of this second chance she had been given. She also promised herself that she would build an intentional relationship with God and never engage in a sexual relationship with a man until she was married. She continued to keep in touch with Dr. Eunice, who is now like an older sister to her. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed this story, please share your thoughts in the comments and give it a thumbs up. Also share with your family and friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you, and stay blessed.